Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader Reading Books for You. Today I will be reading Chapter 10, The Vote, from Tested Love by Liv Donata. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the author for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Vote. In the following months, Sadie's faith in the future grew. She had her first sonogram. She was having a girl. Robert and Sadie had begun to build a beautiful nursery. They had found the best baby books and researched the finest preschools. She was anxiously awaiting the day she would welcome her baby girl to the world. She had also gotten a lot done regarding Clark's bill. She spread the story of Clark and told the public the truth about the testing process being unethical. Robert's connections came in handy. They had spread the proposition to almost every state, and things were looking in their favor. Each state had agreed to put the issue on their ballots, and Sadie hoped that with the national media attention they had drawn, they could convince enough people to vote yes to overturning the law. It had been such a quick and treacherous journey for them. They needed to get everything done quickly so they could put the issue in the next election. Otherwise, they may be stuck waiting another year and watching their backs even closer. Along the journey, they had met so many amazing people with their own stories and found a community to stand with. Some had heard of the possibility that the law was changing and got very upset. Others seemed grateful and accepting. Since Sadie and Robert had become the face of the movement, they received many threatening letters and gifts in the mail. They had been yelled out of supermarkets, and Robert had even lost some clients. But for the most part, it was the constant staring and whispers that bothered Sadie. They reminded her of the days before her trial, but she had grown to realize everything worked out for the best in that situation. So, inevitably, it would work out here too. Enough people wanted change, and she knew that there was a possibility of their voices being stifled. But if enough people stood together, they couldn't silence everyone. Over the past weeks, the issue had been gracing the ballots of every state election. People would finally get to make their voice once and for all. It was definitely a time of nervous anticipation for Sadie. She had heard rumblings and rumors, but nothing stronger than hearsay. Her city had been the last to vote on the decision, and it felt surreal, getting to fill in the bubble next to yes near her question. It felt like a life-changing dream. Now, she and Robert were just moments away from knowing the world they'd get to raise their child in. Sadie was breathless as they stood in the governor's offices downtown with a group of rebels hoping for the news to finally come. The governor was at his desk, awaiting the call. Sadie stood, wishing she could scream their victory into existence. Robert was beside her, holding her hand. He looked into her eyes, and without a word, she knew that no matter the decision, he would protect her. They had gone against an institution. Surely, if they didn't succeed, there would be some silent coup or plan of attack. But together, they were unstoppable. From the first time Sadie locked eyes on Robert, she had known he was her ride or die. Whatever was about to happen, they would make it through. The room was full of silence and suspense as suddenly the phone rang. The governor wiped his palms of sweat, looked up at the group, and pulled the phone up to his ear. There were a few moments of waiting as the group stared at him, trying to read the looks on his face when finally he thanked the person on the other line and hung up. He said, "We have a majority." Sadie started to cry happily as Robert picked her up into his arms for a twirl. The rest of the room began to swarm with chatter as everyone congratulated the couple for their feat. Nothing could stop them now. They were free to love who they wanted to love and live their days with that person. And if they fell out of love, they were free to find it in the arms of another. Sadie had already found the love of her life and begun her family, but through her journey, she learned it wasn't just about her. It was about people like her and like Clark, who felt unable to leave a toxic situation, treated as pawns by their own government. It was about loving who you love apologetically. The government's way of keeping the social classes intact and controlling its citizens had come to an end. For now. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book.